back to Weekly Winners. Today is Wednesday, October 6th, and week 4 of the NFL. We're about to recap it. I feel like we finally know some things.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Between some winless teams, some undefeated teams through week 3, we kind of found out a little bit about what those teams are.
Right. Based on scheduling, you can fluke your way either way through 3 weeks. Not really 4 weeks. That seems to be where the line is drawn. Maybe you finally have that divisional matchup that you had to have. If you just get that first real test on the road. Or maybe it's an individual player who has to show up for the 4th week in a row with defenses finally maybe keying on them a little bit more. Let's start with a little news, actually. The Patriots released Stephon Gilmore this morning.
I did not see that.
2019 Defensive Player of the Year, released after the game with the Bucs. Came out a couple hours ago, and I'm honestly shocked he hasn't been picked up already. When a team's going to need corner help, I mean, every team could add a competent corner to their roster. Apparently, it was over, like, they couldn't come to terms on a contract. But you know he was on a contract for this year when your team is not very good. You could probably use him. They let someone else go on their defense earlier in the week. It's interesting but confusing moves from the Patriots. I think we'll maybe see Bill Belichick in a tizzy up there next year when he has no idea what to do with a draft pick that high in the top half of the order, maybe in the top 10. Because it feels like that's the direction they're going in.
Why release him though? He's got to be worth a 5th or 6th just in trade.
Something.
Like, you're telling me a team like the Packers wouldn't give up a 6th round pick or 5th round pick to get cornerback help? Like a team that's in competition for Super Bowl, one of those teams that has the word Super Bowl contender by their name, wouldn't give up something for Stephon Gilmore.
Right. Call up your perennial trade partner in the Rams who hate having draft picks and you love having draft picks and be like, hey, like, you're supposed to have this great defense. It hasn't performed exactly how it should. Yes, the offense looks really good. Want to add a former Defensive Player of the Year for a 4th round pick? I'm sure they'd do it.
Yeah, it's weird that he hasn't been picked up either, though.
I mean, a little facetious saying it'll happen same day. It will happen. I bet he'll play week 6. I don't know if he's gonna have that quick of a turnaround, but like we saw it with Richard Sherman playing for the Bucs in that same game against the Pats. They picked him up not that long before he started the game.
It'd be a very Bucs move to go out and get Gilmore.
Right? And all of a sudden, like, the one hole they kind of had that was getting exploited, and you have Richard Sherman and Stephon Gilmore, which if you told somebody it 3 years ago, hey, the Buccaneers have Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Stephon Gilmore, and Richard Sherman.
And Antonio Brown.
Like, they'd be the reaction would very much be like, what did the Bucs sign like the next superstar quarterback, and the Patriots just put together the ultimate trade package, like,
and Leonard Fournette. I mean, 3 years ago,
right?
Leonard Fournette, like, yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be a very Bucs move to go out and get him. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that's probably Gilmore's #1 destination spot. Tampa Bay, the retirement home. I mean,
Right. You have to imagine that just completely shores up their pass defense walls.
Right.
We'll have to see going forward.
I mean, and the whole vibe with the Bucs, it seems like a lot of those old guys are taking not a lot of money to go there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I bet you they could get maybe not as cheap as Sherman, just because he does have those legal issues, but
Right. I don't know what his contract looked like with the Patriots, but it's not like he didn't make the 53-man roster. A lot of that money's coming through.
right,
People just don't get cut in week 4.
right.
Doesn't make any sense. But let's move into Panthers at Cowboys. High scoring, I had the over in this one. I kind of said the Panthers defense, let's see them kind of get threatened by a real team, and the Cowboys did it. I mean, the Cowboys offense is legit.
Yeah, I had Panthers money line here. Was looking pretty comfortable early third quarter. By the start of the fourth quarter, it was pretty uncomfortable, and then they started coming back, gave me a little hope. But that defense, I think everyone knew it wasn't going to be as good as it was the first 3 weeks,
Right.
but they looked pretty god awful.
36 points. That was aided some by, surprisingly, the Cowboys defense did some turnovers.
Right.
But yeah, Cowboys kind of showing they are the team to beat in that division at the very least. They just look. Dak's just back.
Right.
It's like he never left. He's just really good again. Go to a game that started, looked like it was really good, and just kind of pittered out. Browns at Vikings. Browns hang on for the 14-7 lead. Vikings scored early, and then just never again.
Yeah.
Kind of highlighting this Browns defense, which has been very good. It's just well rounded.
Yeah, I had Vikings money line here. Another one of those games that I was feeling good about.
Yeah.
Even going into the fourth quarter, it was 11-7, right?
Very close, yeah.
Like the Vikings just moved the ball so easily right at the start of the game and just couldn't.
So many weapons. It's hard for them not to be open.
It's hard to believe they'd score single digits in a football game.
It really is. So yeah, that's something to watch going forward. Are the Browns just that much better, or have they put out the blueprint on what to do against Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook here? Then we go to just a gross game. Bears hosting the Lions. They win 24-14. But man, you can't. It's not a game you could feel good about as a Bears fan. They gave the Lions. I had Lions money line on this one. The Bears gave the Lions every chance to win this game. The Lions just refused to score in the red zone.
Yeah. Lions definitely went away from. I feel like they played this game differently than the first 3 weeks. Running backs way less involved, which is weird because it was never they were never out of it.
Yeah.
There was a point where the Bears up 21 or 17 at some point.
It was big.
But it was early.
Yeah.
It's not like the Lions were really out of it ever. I had Swift and Williams combining for over 63.5 receiving yards, and I think they had 5 combined receiving yards.
Yeah, it was weird. Williams led the backfield in this game, which I don't mind as I'm a David Montgomery, a fantasy owner. He's out a couple weeks. So I have Jamal Williams stepping in for him. So I have high hopes for that. But Bears really can't afford to lose Montgomery for a couple weeks. Yeah, I think congratulations to the Packers, because this division is kind of wrapped up, right?
Yeah, if there was a question mark after week 1, there's not now.
The Vikings would be, but they're their record at this point.
They just can't win the close games. That's their issue. And that's something you got to do if you're in a division with a team that's pretty much guaranteed 11 plus wins this year.
So then we go to, I'm going to draw some parallels here between divisions. Bills beat the Texans 40-0 at home. And the Bills being this good is what's saving the AFC East here from being one of the worst divisions in NFL history. I mean, if they did, I mean, it's the Bills and then it's the 1-win teams,
right?
which isn't unheard of at this point in the season, but those teams are just not good.
There's a good chance those 1-win teams, the best record out of those 3, has 6 wins.
Right.
Like,
I mean, the Bills might have like 13, but so it's not going to be like the, oh my gosh, look, a team with a losing record won the division, but they could.
right?
The Bills fall off the cliff, but they show no signs of doing that. They cover the 17-point spread. I bet over 47.
Same.
The Texans failed to contribute whatsoever. There was a little bit of a drive with the Texans in the fourth quarter. I thought maybe they backdoor push it for us, but they sure didn't. That drive stalled out, so the Bills take on a convincing one. I don't think the Texans are going to be competitive until Tyrod's back.
Yeah. I mean, what did Mills have? Like 30 pass yards or something atrocious.
Bad. Yeah.
He had 5 at half. Like,
not good. Continuing with that division, Colts beat the Dolphins 27-17 at home. I had the Colts plus 2.5 here. I believe you had the money line.
yeah.
The Dolphins just don't look good. The hope for the Dolphins is Tua comes back and he looks like a top 5 pick,
Which we haven't really seen yet.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying Tua's been bad. He's protected the football. You know, when you look at last year into this year, he hasn't been able to put up the points.
He just doesn't score touchdowns.
Like, he hasn't been able to drive his team down the field consistently and score.
So then we go Chiefs at Eagles. Chiefs, and it kind of escaped with a 42-30 win. They cover, I had a -7, but not entirely convincing against this Eagles team.
And they got that cover right towards the end of the game. Like,
they beat this Eagles team by 12 points, and the Eagles just forgot to cover Tyreek Hill a couple times.
right.
Like, he had already scored a couple touchdowns and he was just alone behind the entire defense. Like, good teams aren't going to do that. This game prompted me to look for a bold bet. Chiefs to miss the playoffs, because that division is good, very good. And, you know, they'll be 2-2 after this, but like, not a convincing win. Their defense is clearly not very good. I was hoping for really good odds on that, like plus 1,000 or something. It's only plus 330, which isn't quite enough for me.
So back in June, I did a round robin with all the division winners. And as a hedge, because the Chiefs were like minus like 170 or something ridiculous. As a hedge, I did get Chiefs to take last in the division.
Yeah.
And that was at like plus 4,000 or plus 5,000.
Like,
because in my mind at that point, it was they were only going to do this if Mahomes gets hurt. But right now it's like, I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be shocked at this point. That defense is just so bad.
I think it's just the Broncos at this point. Like, they're not gonna be able to score with good teams.
Right.
Like, the defense is good, but it's not as good as that offense is bad.
Right.
Especially missing the receivers they are. Let me go to what was my lock of the week. Titans -6 at the Jets. Pathetic performance. Just terrible. This Titans, speaking of bad defenses, this Titans defense is atrocious. I started them in fantasy just because they're playing the Jets. Picked them up, like, perfect matchup here. And I think they have the Broncos next week, and I still dropped them. Obviously, they cannot be trusted.
Right.
Um,
Meanwhile, on the other hand, that Jets defense is kind of surprising. I think they have a top 5 pass defense.
I mean, it's still got 24 points, but it's and without Julio and
Right, but that 24 points, a lot of that was run through Henry. Like I'm saying, that pass defense.
not enough of it. I'll say over a touchdown and a half. I mean, I believed up until like overtime that I was still gonna hit that, but I did not. Just bad. I mean, again, talk about bad divisions. Like, the Colts just gonna steal this one. I mean, if the Colts make the playoffs, that's just a bad playoff team.
Yeah.
And we go to what I believe was your lock of the week: Washington football team at Falcons. Washington escapes with a 4-point victory, 34-30. And are Washington's overs like undefeated this year?
I think
I
so.
think I bet 3 of them. I don't remember week 1, but or that was the Chargers. That one was gone over. But the last 3 weeks, I believe they've gone over.
Yeah, I hit the lock on the over. One thing I will say, and Taylor Heineke has started 3 games this year, and in 2 of them, he's led last drive comebacks to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's been just all right. Like, he's done enough. That's all you can ask.
I'll never bet on the man again after that Giants game,
Yeah,
but I'm still rooting for him.
right. Speaking of the Giants, they go into New Orleans and won 27-21. I was all over the Saints -7 in this one. They're finally back in New Orleans for the first game this season. And yeah, the defense just didn't look as good as it has looked in previous weeks.
I was right with you with the Saints, and I didn't catch a lot of the game. Like, do you know if it was sloppy or just like?
Saquon did get going,
Okay.
which, you know, it's hard to stop when he does. But yeah, they just got beat by Danny Dimes, which I feel like playoff teams shouldn't be doing.
Right.
While I was scrolling through those Chiefs odds, I did see the Saints still at slightly plus odds to make the playoffs, which I think would have to be considered just because, you know, 7 teams make it. So, you know, you're getting kind of 3 wild cards. So if you think of it like, especially in the NFC, if you think about it like who's the second best team, you just have to be the second best team in your division and not be the worst division, which the NFC is probably the NFC East. You basically the bet to me pretty much looks like, are the Saints going to finish ahead of the Panthers?
Or yeah, because I think you're getting 2 from the NFC West.
It's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible. But you're not getting one from NFC North.
It's not right now. Like, right.
So, yeah, so about even odds or plus a little bit is probably about right on that one. But they've got to be one of the more confusing teams right now.
Yeah, just curb stomp the Packers, then lose by 35. Granted, their coaches were out. Come back and win. Come back and lose to the Giants.
Right, especially like that week 3 win really did it for me. Like, they hadn't been home in so long. Like, it's gotta be so difficult to go in and win like that, but they did, and then they go back home, and the Giants are so that both the New York teams getting their first wins this week. Yeah, we're left with 1 undefeated team and 2 winless teams.
Right.
So we go Cardinals at the Rams. Cardinals just taking it to the Rams at home. I was at Rams -4.5. I believe you're a Cardinals money line, and yeah, that one looked good early.
Yeah. Never really had to sweat that one out. I mean, I said the winner of this game was a lock for playoffs. Don't necessarily think this means the Cardinals win the division, but sitting at 4-0, won your first NFC West game. I mean, if you're a Cardinals fan right now, you're loving the way things are
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Especially for how bad they played last week against the Jags. Like, this is kind of reassurance, like, hey, the Jags, the Cardinals were a streaky team last year. They're going to be a streaky team this year. And it's like, okay, last week, that was a bad week. We knew we were going to have them, but this week we kind of showed up and got the job done.
Right. It's big. You don't want to see them in the playoff vibes. Because like the consistency to win 3 or 4 games in a row may not be there. Obviously, there's like 4 games in a row, but 4 playoff teams in a row is a different story. But they've clearly shown that, like this week, if everything comes together for them for that specific game, they can beat anybody.
Right.
So you don't want to have to play them, and it happens to be one of those games.
Yeah. They're another team that could benefit from Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah. The 2 former defensive player of the years on that team.
I mean, yeah, that pass defense isn't great.
No, it's definitely reliant on their pass rush,
right?
To make sure they don't have to cover very long. But that's a viable strategy. We go to Seahawks at 49ers. Seahawks getting the win in this one. I love the halftime call to put Trey Lance in, because I bet Trey Lance to score a rushing or receiving touchdown, but just based on him being in a ton of the packages for goal line offense for the 49ers. And he plays the whole second half and still didn't get it done for me.
Yeah, so I had Seahawks to cover plus 2.5 here, which obviously they did. They won the game. The 49ers, I just don't think they're for real. I think they'll be in a lot of games this year, but I think they'll lose enough of those games. Like,
right, you can only scheme yourself. I do like Kyle Shanahan, but you can only scheme yourself so many points.
Right. Right. They need that Niners defense to be that Niners defense it was 2 or 3 years ago, where it's like, okay, they're giving up 10 points a game.
Like, yeah, you can absolutely scheme yourself 14 points, but
right.
Not if your defense giving up 28. Ravens, the Broncos, kind of boring game. The Ravens just kind of take care of them, showing the Broncos for what they are. Finally played a team that's won a game before, and yeah, they just got handled. That offense it's bad. I like Teddy, but there's just not that much around them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one bright spot, if you're a Broncos fan, or silver lining you can look at, is the fact that you had 7 starters. So
right. I mean, but the thing is, like, Teddy was so good that stretch with the Saints, because if you can put the talent around him, he can do enough. But when he has to elevate those guys around him, that's not exactly something he does.
Right. But I mean, like, WR1 and 2 have been out for a while now. Like, if you're a Broncos fan, I don't think this is all right. Well, this is our team. Like, we actually suck, and we just had a gravy first 3 games. Like,
I just don't think it's not minor stuff. Like, they're not getting these guys back next week.
Right.
So the injuries could continue to plague the Broncos. Then we go to Steelers Packers. Steelers was 17-27. Kind of anticipated this. Yeah, I mean, it's offense is sloppy. It's not very good. The defense is still very good, but when the offense can't stay on the field for more than a possession, it's very hard to trot right back out there and be good defense again. Packers, you can't feel bad about a 10-point win, but a couple injuries on the defense, not great. And I mean, the moment I knew the Steelers were losing this game is when they called offsides on that blocked kick. I really didn't think it was offsides, and that's a 10-point swing.
That's where I think all penalties need to be reviewable. In real time, I thought that was offsides because they moved so much faster than.
I think they said on the broadcast, Romo said, when they get to the kick, you have to be so perfect that it always looks like offsides.
Right, like it looked like offsides,
Right.
but when you watched it in slow-mo, they went when he snapped the ball
Right.
exactly at the same second.
If someone on TV can see the ball move and then see you move at the same time, you're definitely not getting that kick. That's way too slow. You have to be. I think the thing that screwed them, I think that they had two guys that perfectly jumped.
Right.
If you had one, that's feasible. I think that the two guys being there, I was like, oh, they just went early.
Right. Yeah, like I'll give it to the refs, whatever. It looked like in real time, but that's where something like that needs to be reviewable.
It's a 10-point game, and that's an explicit 10-point swing.
Right.
And no hyperbole at all. Like, they got a field goal, and the Steelers would have had a touchdown. Like,
right.
And it's just so, especially with the offense Steelers have, it's so hard to cover from that. But at this point, I kind of said it last week. It's just hit the draft pick, reload, quick rebuild. Still excited for the future of the team. For the night game, Bucks Patriots, and I'm sick of Patriots fans. The amount of Patriots fans I've seen that were like, they just have adopted the Buccaneers. They'll have Tom Brady come in and beat them in their home stadium with a smile on their face. Like,
right.
How pathetic.
Yeah. And like my one comment about this game is, we kind of I talked a little when I made my Patriots money line bet about the storyline, how it was always, was it Belichick or was it Brady? Brady won the Super Bowl, kind of quieted it down. And now that Belichick just lost the head-to-head matchup, I never want to hear that debate again. It's Belichick, to even have the debate, would have had to have a substantially worse team beat Brady's Bucks head-to-head. To even have the debate. Right. Granted, I still think the Super Bowl is worth more than a week 4 head-to-head matchup, but the debate's over.
He's still the greatest head coach of all time. He has 6 Super Bowls, but coaches aren't on the field. They can only do so much. I said it last week. He took 6 very good football teams and won a Super Bowl with them. That is all you can ask from a coach.
Right.
He's very good with good teams. He doesn't have a good team right now. He's not going to magically turn them into a Super Bowl contender. I don't care about how good your coach is. That just doesn't happen. Buccaneers are good. Patriots are not. He kept it close, which is, I think, a testament to him, but they just weren't going to win this game. Now, what position do the Patriots have an advantage over against the Bucs in this game?
I mean, Richard Sherman makes it close, but when Stephon Gilmore was playing cornerback, right. And if the Bucs went out and gotten Sherman, I think there's a case for cornerback.
Right.
Maybe even with Sherman, there's still a case for cornerback.
Because of that, I think it's not a good Bucs win. Like 2 points.
Oh no, it's a terrible Bucs win.
Sloppy, but you get it done.
But I feel like they knew it was going to be tough going in.
Yeah.
I mean, the Brady, not revenge game, but it wasn't going to be easy having your starting quarterback go into a place where he played for 2 decades.
I mean, it is when most of the crowd's cheering for him.
That's fair.
So then we go Monday night, Raiders at Chargers. The Chargers kind of took the command of this division in this game to be doubled up 28-14. They just looked really good. Defense looked good.
Yeah.
Offense handled the Raiders pass rush, which is kind of the focal point of their defense. And yeah, really good win for the Chargers here.
Yeah, especially with Raiders showing some life. We're down 21-0 at half, and then dropped a quick 14 in the third quarter. And I was like, we might actually have a game here. And and the Raiders just couldn't get anything going.
And that's the way playoff teams do, is they don't let those runs happen where it makes it like actually scary for them.
Right.
And I think that's what gave me pause week 1 about the 49ers. Like, yeah, you can look good, but if the Lions are giving you a scare at the end, then they're not that for real.
Right.
And this Thursday, we're finally safe on these Thursday night games. Had a lot of bad ones. Get Rams at Seahawks for this one. Keeping it easy. I'm keeping it simple. Rams are 3-point favorites on the road. They just lost to the Cardinals. The Rams are a very good team. The Seahawks are good as well. The Rams are better. Give me Rams -3 and give me the over 54.5. Both these teams score and get scored on through 4 weeks. And like I said, 4 weeks is enough for me to really base bets on what's happened this year, not just based on what I think will happen. I think you're not fluking your way through 4 weeks. And there's been a lot of points scored in kind of all 8 games that these teams have been involved in. So yeah, Rams and over for me.
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals winning last week was a fluke. I think the margin of victory was maybe a little fluky though.
Right, you just got away from them.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love the Rams -3 here. I just think they'll be able to put up 35 points, and I don't know if the Seahawks can quite do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got one more bet. I've got Robert Woods, like him to have over 60.5 receiving yards and 1 touchdown or more, obviously, over half a touchdown. That's plus 175. I thought about adding the Rams money line tag, get some juice to that parlay at like plus 350, but gonna leave it separate because I think he can still do it. I think he still will do it if they lose that game.
Yeah.
Like,
It's got to be on Seahawks, Keenan Cup, especially in the red zone. He's been such a easily the favorite target of Stafford.
Yeah.
But now, well, who are our winners of the week?
So mine was tough. Wanted to go Brady because, you know, just it's got to feel good to win that game. Just beat all 32 NFL teams. So yeah, really not that big of a win though. Wanted to go Cardinals, but try not to be biased here. Even though I do think that was a very good victory for them.
Definitely.
So I went with my boy Trey Lance. It sucks because I do think the Niners should be starting him after that. After that game, I just don't think with Jimmy G at the helm, they're a playoff team. And I think Trey Lance maybe gives them that spark to, I don't think they're winning the division with Trey Lance, but Trey Lance could maybe give them that spark.
They're a versatile offense now. They have way more options. He does have to show that he's not a wildcat quarterback.
Right. And I mean, he started really slow. I think he was like 2 for his first 8 or something, ended 9 for 18, which
fine.
For 157, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and added 7 rushes for 41 yards in 1 half of football.
Right.
I mean, bodes pretty well for a full game of football.
The thing you have to look at, it's always the injury concern with the running quarterbacks. A quarterback taking that many rushing attempts is always scary. There's 2 routes to go where this works that we've seen in our lifetime. You're either Cam Newton and you're so big it doesn't matter that you take these hits, which Lance is a sizable guy.
Right. But Cam Newton's a middle linebacker playing quarterback.
Or you're Lamar Jackson, who just never gets hit square.
Right.
There's too shifty, it's ankle tackles, and you're never taking the big hit. Although if you're Manziel or RG3, it's the shelf life is low.
Yeah. I think Trey Lance needs to watch a lot of Kyler Murray film.
Mhm.
You know, Kyler
Some
isn't
of
that
it.
shifty guy. He isn't big.
But some of the escape artistry he does is
Right.
insane.
But he's not afraid to run out of bounds or slide or, so yeah, I think
I get it from Shanahan. The designed runs from your quarterback can open up opportunities for him in the passing game by them needing to key on him first. 'Cause you can even go 5 wide and the linebackers can't take that first step back. So maybe
right.
it's a quick pump and then a draw. But for longevity's sake, by year 3 or 4, you have to be pass first as a quarterback. You just do. You can't be doing that many designed runs anymore. Yeah, it's a thing if it's 3rd and 2 or if it's
Right.
the 4th and inches. But
Right. You can still be mobile.
right, you don't want to be like, all right, we're doing QB power right on 2nd and 5.
Right.
I'm sticking with the rookie quarterback route for my word of the week. If you win me a lock, I'll always have a soft spot for you. Zach Wilson beating the Titans, throwing more touchdowns than interceptions. I believe he had like 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a win. More than I possibly could have expected from him this week. I think a modest game in quarterback standards, but maybe the biggest overperformer from where his expectations were at this week, especially counting the win.
Yeah. And he played well.
Yeah.
Like if he does that every week, be just a fine NFL quarterback.
Right. That's all you need.
And we'll see. We'll see if he keeps it up.
He might just be good enough to go to the playoffs with a different team in 4 years.
Right.
But so congratulations, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson are winners of the week. This is not the end of the show. This is no longer a football only time of year. It is one of my favorite, very favorite days of the sports calendar. It is NBA GM survey day. I have it pulled up. I'll run some by you.
Okay.
See what you think, because we'll use this as the vehicle for our NBA preview. We'll give our thoughts and then also laugh at the GMs who have ridiculous answers on here.
Okay. So forewarning, I will be looking up a list of players at whatever position because NBA, I have no clue what position those players actually are.
Don't worry about it. Neither do the GMs.
So, okay, because isn't LeBron technically a small forward, power forward?
We'll get there. He receives votes for 3 positions in this survey.
Okay.
Started off, which team will win the 2022 NBA Finals?
Lakers.
I
Wait, you're saying what the GM said, right? Now,
well,
what I think.
Well, let's say, what do we think, and what do
Okay.
we think the GM said?
I mean, I gotta ride with the Bucks.
So do I. They're obviously our team, but
Yeah.
they're not worse.
Right, that's what I was gonna. They didn't take any steps back.
Right.
I mean, I know there's still a little bit of concerns with Giannis's health, but by next June,
Right.
you
You just have to make the playoffs in the NBA.
Right.
They will. 72% of the GMs said the Nets. 17% said the Lakers. 10 said the Bucks. The Nets aren't even definitely gonna have Kyrie. I think it's leaning no at this point.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of those. Because I know Wiggins just got. Right, because Kyrie's a vaccine guy.
Yes.
What about Draymond Green?
He's big for the vaccine.
Oh, he's big for it. Okay. I just saw that picture, that Photoshop picture of him with that vaccine shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. And then, so based on where they voted on, they weighed the points for each, where they would finish in the conference. So in the East, it goes Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Miami, Philly, Atlanta, Boston, Indiana. Miami being at 3 is surprising to me. But then again, Philly, the Ben Simmons stuff is yet to resolve. So it's hard to know what they're going to look like. Yeah, I think it's clear Nets, Milwaukee at the top.
Yeah.
I think that gaps it where we went in as like a 4-team kind of thing over the last few years in the East feels more like a 2-team race this year. Western Conference goes Lakers, Jazz, Suns, Nuggets, Warriors, Clippers, Mavericks, Trailblazers. I think the Trailblazers matters if Dame's there. He's not. I don't see him really being a playoff team in the West. Clippers at 6, obviously without Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't play at all. I'd be surprised if they finish ahead of Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Luka is the guy that he's supposed to be, they have to finish above 7th in the conference, I think. And I kind of expected GMs to be higher on the Warriors as well. They don't even having them at 5. Like I kind of think it's right, but yeah, I would have guessed the GMs would have had that high.
Yeah.
Who will win the 2021-22 MVP?
Again, I got to think it's Giannis.
Yeah, like the thing is, he's won it twice, but if someone else has to like put up the storyline like Jokic did to win it. They at 37 have Kevin Durant, which I don't think happens if like just playing with Harden, like we've seen it with the Warriors. Like that's just not the way to do it. Number 2, 33% is Luka Doncic, which he'll probably have the numbers for it. And this might just be it's his time to win it now. MVP voting in the NBA has always kind of been weird. They're hesitant to give a guy more than 1 at this point.
Right.
And then Giannis is at 13, Joel Embiid's at 7, Harden's at 7. I don't think there's a chance that Harden wins it.
No.
And it's important to remember here, it's 30 guys doing the survey. So 7%, that's 2 guys. 3%, that's 1 guy. And Curry has 1 vote at 3%. If you're starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? Guessing you probably have a.
Yeah, but there's also an argument for Luka or Giannis.
Is first at 43%. Giannis is second at 40%.
Yeah.
So exactly 1 more guy thinks Luka than Giannis.
That's about where I would put that. I mean, you obviously wouldn't go wrong with either of them.
There was a vote for Anthony Davis, Durant, LeBron, Jokic, and Zion.
I mean, that LeBron vote is probably like the Cleveland GM or you can't, he's so old. Why would you want to start a franchise with him?
Right. Which player forces opposing coaches to make the most adjustments?
Trying to think of like guys who can just like score from anywhere on the floor. I mean, like playoff Dame, but like not really regular season Dame. I don't know.
No votes for Dame. Steph Curry at 27%. Then KD. I think KD's the clear answer.
That's fair.
Giannis is on here, but I don't think there's an adjustment to be made. LeBron's on there. Jokic's on here. I don't really know what you do to game plan against Jokic either. If you just don't have a guy that size, like what adjustment are you making? Which player is most likely to have a breakout season this year? There's a lot of second-year guys up here, which I don't really agree with. Like, I don't think second-year guys should be. It's like the same. They shouldn't be most improved because that's what you're supposed to do. You
Right.
get used to the league year 1, and you improve a lot year 2. It's whatever. It's what a lot of guys do. But there are some guys up here. Number 1, who I really like, Jaren Jackson Jr., If he can stay healthy, I love Triple J. Also up, Anthony Edwards is second. I got a second-year guy. He should be really good. I don't know if that's a breakout though. There's Michael Porter Jr. Just got that big contract.
Yeah.
Again, staying healthy type thing.
His agent did some work for that contract.
2 votes also for John Morant, who I feel like's broken out already.
Right.
I don't know how much more he can break out. Just scanning here. Vote for Karl Anthony Towns.
It's the T-Wolves.
DeAndre Hunter getting a vote for Atlanta. Who's best point guard in the NBA?
Sucker.
57%. Then Dame and Luka, and then LeBron and Chris Paul are tied, both getting 2 votes. Who's the best shooting guard in the NBA?
Who would they even say? Like, this is the whole thing where I don't know people's like true position.
Right.
Like, I just want to know, did Klay Thompson get any votes?
No.
I was gonna say that would just be wrong because the man hasn't played.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's James Harden, 63% of the vote.
See, he's a point guard.
Well, not on the
That's fair.
Then it's Devin Booker, then Luka Doncic. Steph got a vote, and so did Kevin Durant, who has not ever played shooting guard. 7 feet tall. So I don't know who's voting for that. Small forward in the NBA, who's the best?
I think Kawhi is a small forward.
Yeah, he got 2 votes. Kevin Durant got 67% of the vote. LeBron.
I thought Kevin Durant was a power forward. I don't know.
LeBron's second, and Kawhi's third with 2 votes. Chris Middleton got a vote here. I can only imagine. That was my vote, actually. Newly hired GM of the Bucks. So far we have votes for both LeBron and LeBron has 2 votes for point guard and small forward, and Durant has votes as shooting guard and small forward. Who's the best power forward in the NBA? Spoiler alert: LeBron and Durant both got votes here as well.
So I always thought KD was a power forward. That's why he gets my vote here.
Right. 63% it's Giannis. And then LeBron and then Durant.
What is Giannis's technical position?
Power forward.
Okay.
So Durant,
Giannis gets my vote. I changed
Durant, a better small forward than LeBron. LeBron, a better power forward than Durant, but also LeBron, a better point guard than Durant, but Durant, a better shooting guard than LeBron. Neither got center votes though.
Yeah.
Although you absolutely could vote Kevin Durant at center when he was with the Warriors.
Right.
No surprises at center. It's MVP. Jokic,
Yeah.
then Embiid, and then Giannis. So yeah, both your Giannis, your Durant, and your LeBron all getting votes at 3 different positions.
That makes my brain hurt.
Off-season moves. Which team made the best overall moves this offseason?
Oh, I'm trying to think of that. What was that Memphis trade?
Mm-hmm.
Was it way better for Memphis or
Player-wise, it's better for New Orleans. They got Valanciunas. Memphis got Steven Adams. Kind of the bulk of the deal.
okay. Trying to think. Oh, well, the Lakers went out and signed.
Lakers at 17%.
Yeah.
Heat 47% of the vote.
Who'd the Heat go out and get?
Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker.
That's right.
Trailblazers got a vote. The Trailblazers GM, I have to imagine. Thunder got a vote, which I don't hate. Just like getting more draft picks. Which one player acquisition will make the biggest impact?
I mean, wherever Dame goes. But,
Right.
as of now, with the Lakers just all signed.
Westbrook, Carmelo.
Yeah, I'd say probably Westbrook.
Westbrook getting 17% of the vote for that again. Kyle Lowry, 77% of the vote. He's fine.
I think the Heat are going back to the finals with him.
They're
apparently.
high. GMs are high on the Heat. Dinwiddie and Valanciunas also got votes. My pick didn't get a vote. I think it's probably Lonzo to the Bulls. I think that's the perfect fit. Was the most underrated player acquisition, which is just a super convoluted question. How do you define which ones are underrated?
Well, I guess your Lonzo one.
Lonzo's fourth in this category. I actually like the first one, Larry Nance Jr. to Portland. Also getting votes, Dennis Schroeder to Boston, Jeff Green to Denver, Alex Caruso to Chicago. Which team will be the most improved in 2021, 2022?
I'm gonna go with Memphis.
Despite being high on them and everything else, Miami only getting one vote here. Bulls, then Warriors, and Lakers.
The Lakers.
Kings, Wizards, Timberwolves, and Rockets all getting votes. Just like nowhere else to open up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the can you go through them again? The top ones.
Bulls, Warriors, Lakers.
I guess the Warriors kind of makes sense.
Just getting guys back.
Yeah.
What was the most surprising move of the offseason?
Guessing Ross.
Yeah, 50%.
Uh-huh.
Then DeMar to Chicago. And I just want to point out that an NFL GM was asked this question. I responded, Mason Plumlee to Charlotte. Shocked, floored. Drop the phone. You had a heart attack when you're Mason Plumlee is going to be a Hornet.
And the NFL GM was asked that?
No, NBA. That's NFL.
Yeah.
Here's the rookies and international ones. Who'll be the rookie of the year?
I'm not too familiar with this class, if I'm being honest.
Cunningham went first. He got 40% of the vote. Jalen Green to Houston went second, got 47% of the vote. He's just got a ton of opportunity to score, and he'll do it from the G League. He's going to just score a ton of points with that team. What rookie will be the best player in 5 years? Neither of those guys, surprisingly, voted Evan Mobley for Cleveland, who a lot of potential, could be very good, but I don't see how you don't see Cade Cunningham here. They also give the data from 5 years ago, who GMs thought would be the best player in the draft class.
Oh.
It said Ben Simmons, 70% of that vote. Which I don't know that they're completely wrong there.
Right.
Which rookie is the biggest steal where he selected? Jalen Suggs, one's that Orlando. I also like number 2 with Alperen Sengun to Houston at 16. He fell very far. There's also a million other guys that got votes here, I'm sure, for their own guys. They think they snatched up a winner. Who's the best international player in the NBA? Not the MVP, but Giannis 60%, Luka 27%, Jokic 13%. The only guys getting votes there. Who's the best international player not in the NBA? Nikola Mirotic, who a couple years ago kind of decided to step away. Marc Gasol got a vote. Defense. Who's the best defensive player in the NBA?
I suppose I'd say Kawhi or Giannis.
Giannis first 47%, Rudy Gobert 17%, Drew Holiday getting 10% of the vote for third, tied with Kawhi. Then Ben Simmons was the best perimeter defender in the NBA.
Kawhi.
Drew Holiday getting 50% of the vote. Love to see. Giannis got a vote here, 2 votes here as well. Was the best interior defender in the NBA.
Rudy.
Yeah, 77%. Yeah, it's getting 13%. So showing up in all these categories. Was the most versatile defender in the NBA. Giannis 40%. Then Ben Simmons, who does defend like every position. Paul George got a vote here, which I don't really understand. Who's the best defensive team in the NBA?
Oh, it's got to be the Bucks if they have 2
It's
of
the
them.
Bucks, 40%. Suns got a vote, and sort of the Knicks, just because they have Tibbs, I guess. Sort of the Lakers, who aren't going to play defense in the regular season. Coaches, who's the best head coach in the NBA?
I don't know.
Spoelstra got 50%, 55% of the vote. Then Monty Williams. I'm glad Popovich still getting 10% of the vote, which I don't know what he's done the last couple of years to show that. I'm glad to see the Bucks GM supporting Bud, giving him his 1 vote. Which head coach is the best manager, motivator of people? Spoelstra gets 55% of the head coach vote, 10% of this vote. Monty Williams gets 50% of this one. I don't know how this is. What's the discerning factor between all this? Which head coach makes the best in-game adjustments? That's Ty Lue. So, who didn't appear in best coach, but best in-game adjustment. Which head coach runs the best offense? Quinn Snyder in Utah, then Steve Kerr in Golden State. Which coach has the best defensive schemes? It's Tibbs in New York, makes sense. Then Bud in Milwaukee. So all of those niche categories, and your Eric Spoelstra, 55% best head coach, doesn't appear at the top of any of them. So what's he good at? He is a very good coach. It's in Spoelstra slander, but which new or relocated head coach will have the biggest impact on his new team? Then with Rick Carlisle, Indiana with 64%. Pretty much every new coach got a vote here. So what are you doing if you just hire a coach and you're not voting for him?
Right.
The biggest impact. Best assistant coach in the NBA. It's tied with Kenny Atkinson and Darvin Ham, Golden State and Milwaukee. Which active player will make the best head coach someday?
I'm guessing LeBron won that category.
LeBron got a vote, which I think is ridiculous.
There's
There's no chance the other coaches.
I figured they'd just give it to him.
No, it's Chris Paul, then Rajon Rondo, and then TJ McConnell. And Donis Haslam. I like Brogdon myself. I'm thinking about Brogdon's gonna be a really good coach, super smart guy. Very hard to protect. Also, Draymond Green got a vote, which I can't see either. Miscellaneous. Which team is the most fun to watch?
Probably Nets.
It is, and I think they're one of the least fun teams to watch. Any team with a Harden on it is just painful to watch. Although in the preseason, they have not been giving fouls to the guys like trying to draw them on shots.
Good. I'm guessing Golden State's on there.
It's Warriors, then Hawks, Hornets. Bucks not even on here. Fair enough. Which team has the best home court advantage?
Boston or Lakers?
Utah, because of the racism. Crazy that they would give them this vote.
Right.
Like, our guys hate going there because they get called slurs. Utah. Which team has the most promising young core?
See, it's weird because like, what's their definition of young?
Right.
Like, we're talking real young. I'd say Memphis.
Memphis is 7%. It's the Hawks with 50% of the vote.
I guess DeAndre Hunter, Trae Young.
Which player is the most athletic?
Athletic is such like an interpretable word, though. Because I mean, like, Giannis is just a freak of nature, but just the best all around athlete. LeBron, I'm guessing.
Yeah, LeBron gets one vote. Zion wins this 27%, then Giannis. If you're saying just athletic and you're moving the basketball from it, I think it's like clearly like Jack Jones Jr.
Right.
Like you just jump out of the gym. Like, is he the best at basketball? Not really, but that's not the question. It's just about athletic. What player is the best pure shooter?
Steph.
90% of the vote, most universally agreed on. What player is the fastest with the ball?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox. I think has been true for a few years now. Player best at moving without the ball. I think was Steph there. Klay Thompson finished in third with that one. Player is the best passer.
Well, it's got to be someone on the Lakers. They've got 3 guys with over like 10,000 career assists or something. Probably Russ.
It's LeBron. Russ got a vote. LaMelo Ball got a vote. Jokic is also tied with LeBron at the top. Player's the best leader.
LeBron.
It's Chris Paul, then LeBron. Let's see who's got a vote here. They're all pretty fair, I think. Dame got 70% of the vote, despite asking to leave this team. Player is the bat. Who's the most versatile player in the NBA?
Probably KD or LeBron if they voted for him for 4 different positions.
Right, so it's LeBron, Giannis, KD. What player has the best basketball IQ?
I feel like they just give it to LeBron.
Yeah, they absolutely do. LeBron and Chris Paul. Which player would you want taking a shot with the game on the line?
Giannis, because they'll probably just dunk it.
No votes for Giannis. 41% KD.
Oh yeah, because if he gets fouled,
then Steph. Now, here's the last, and I think the most interesting one. What rule regarding play, schedule, draft/lottery, playoff formats, etc., most needs to change?
I'll tell you a rule I've always hated in basketball. That when you call a timeout, you get to inbound it from half court. I hate that. Because like if there's 1 second left in the game and you have a timeout, that completely changes. You know, now instead of having to either chuck it down the court when on the inbound, you know, you can just pass right into a shot.
I think what they did here, they tried to make it fit in a thing and they kind of tried to summarize what they said. I need to see exactly what these GMs said because some of these I have no idea what they mean. The winning one with 13% is take/transition fouls, which fair enough. Then additional coaches challenge, free agency before the draft, just schedule, seeding the playoffs 1 through 16 rather than the conferences, the limit ending that they did in the All-Star games. Also receiving votes, so all these got 1 vote. Agent and executive barrier needs to be tighter. So some GM got burned by an agent. Allow more bench celebration. Corner 3, same distance as above break. So just make the court massive or way short of the 3-point line. Draft tiebreaker opposite of playoff tiebreaker. Encourage diversity of play. I don't know what that means. The in-season tournament, the lottery odds, mandatory draft medical information. So some player didn't want to go to a team, so they withheld their medicals so the team wouldn't draft them, and guys pissed them off.
I respect that though.
Maybe my favorite one: non-basketball moves. I don't know what that means. One free throw attempt for shooting foul. So there's one shot for 2 points. It's just different. And I have to imagine was the Thunder GM. Player trade demands. Don't know what the rule is against it. I want it gone. Just and review time, which pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's always, we're not back through here, but it's also fun. You can go back to the historical, like see what they said last year, see what they said 5 years ago. It was always a delight to see what GMs are saying. I wish this was a thing in every other sport.
Right.
It's just so perfect. It's such an isolated survey. It's the perfect amount of people where you can see the ones with one vote. They're like, I bet you I know who voted for that one. Like an NFL one would be gold. Like imagine like the rule changes that these like NFL GMs would be saying. Like you get such weird votes for like some of the category, like who's the best like route runner in the NFL. That's like like Gronk got a vote here or something like.
Or the rule change one would be awesome because like after the Saints lost that playoff game because of pass interference, what's the rule change? I want penalties reviewable.
Right. It'd be very obvious which teams are voting for which stuff, I feel like.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be all this. I don't think we'd be seeing Mahomes getting votes for a running back and a wide receiver.
And it'd also be funny because like you do like, oh, who's gonna be rookie of the year? Like, like Zach Wilson might not get a vote there.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there'd be at least one like
I feel like I don't know why it is pretty like there's not a whole lot of homerism in the NBA one. I feel like there'd be a ton in the NFL one.
You think so?
I think there'll be like 32 different votes for each one for their own guys. But it doesn't happen in the NBA one, so I guess.
Best quarterback in the league, Taylor Heineke.
But that's our episode for the day. Keep an eye out for our episode on Sunday, breaking down all our picks and preview for the games. And also keep an eye out on our Twitter at weeklywinnerswi. I'm definitely going to start throwing some of my NBA picks out there as well. So yeah, hoping to get back on the right side of the NFL picks and start out strong with the NBA. Thank you for listening.